Jan here. Sorry I'm in a silly position, and as you can see I'm not in a spaceship, I'm in my loft. Yes, I'm finally in the loft. Anyway, so I thought today I would give you it won't be a long talk, it's a very small area, but I thought I'd show you around my sewing area and crafting area, and just to explain what I've got here. I hope you're not expecting tidy, because it's definitely not that. Let's begin here. At the top there, so I can move you up not too fast, that's all my buttons. No, not buttons, sorry, beads. All the beads I've collected off of jewellery. Some have been bought over the years, but the majority of those have come from jewellery that I've dismantled. As you can see, I'm pretty full, so I must stop buying any more and use those. Then I've got my ribbons and some bias binding there that I bought years and years ago. It's stupidly cheap, how often do you use orange bias binding? I've thought about making some bunting or something, but I haven't got around to that yet. Then there's my threads. I've got more, but obviously my rack is full there, so I can't put them all on there. Here we have my scissors. In the corner there is that paper, like ones you get with different sort of zigzags and curved edges, and that the sort that children use really, but I've had them for a long time. They come in handy occasionally if I'm making gift tags. And here we've got some more cutters. I've got a few roller cutters, and I've got some blades that I use. Obviously I've got rules, more scissors. The cutter I use the most. And there's all my gel pens and felt pens in there. And obviously my sharpeners, pencil sharpeners. Under there it's got little bits of equipment. I've got hairspray, which I sometimes spray onto a thread to stiffen it so I can thread it easier. Essential hand cream, because sometimes when you're working with fabric a lot, as I'm sure some of you know, your hands become quite dry. And I've got my pinchers and lots of other different tools, like a pattern wheel and some other old tools that I've collected over time. This is a thing I made on a tutorial a while ago, which contains all of my clips, as you can see, and my pin cushion that I made, and another one that I made. And there's just one of my sewing books. I've got my manual that I put together. I printed off all the sheets that I got online to do with my serger. Oops, excuse me, moving that stuff around. And here is my serger. Some scraps of fabric that I've got left from a quilt I was making, or made, and I've got extra to do something with. There's my computer. And there's my Doris the Duck that I made from the Tilda, one of the Tilda books. And we've got my Toyota sewing machine. Works perfectly well, it's quite basic. I mean, I'm not saying I wouldn't mind a really nice machine. As I said before in one of my other tutorials, I would love a embroidery machine and just some machines that do a little bit more. I know the trouble is when you buy something that does a bit more, there's more to go wrong, but sometimes I would just odd occasions I wish I had one that did a bit more. This is a shirt of Duncan's that he was throwing out, so I cut out the sleeves up and the bits of the front just so I could reuse them for something else. And this is the button band off the same thing that the pins are in it because I'm going to sew it flat, and I press it flat, and in the hope of using it as a strap. And the cuffs, I'm hoping that it'll work. Obviously got a buttonhole. I'm hoping that might just go over the top of a bag and clasp with a button or something there. It's all worth trying. Obviously I've got my lovely big cutting mat. Took me years to get that. Then over here Oh, excuse me, there's not a lot of room to move around. Down here I've got a box full of wadding and things. In the corner there I've got a suitcase full of knitting wool and a suitcase full of scraps, which I think I've said I plan to make a puff or a footstool or something and stuff it with those. And this bag is full of the same again. This is my weaving frame that Duncan had made me. I haven't got round to using that yet. And this is my ironing. It's like just a square ironing pad really. It's easier to store than an ironing board, and I can keep it tucked away there. Oops, everything's falling over on me. Then we've got my drawers with my crafts in. There's lots of letters in that one. And this one, I've got stamps. What's this one? More stamps. And this is more stamps. And more stamp cutters. And there's more. These are, as you can see, they're for painting on glass or drawing on glass. Oh, I'll pick them up in a minute. Then I've got obviously ink pads that go with the stamps. Excuse me, I'm just going to pick those up because that's going to annoy me otherwise. Then I've got a cutter. I don't know if you've seen these, like a wire cutter. Here it is. This, you plug this in and the wire on there gets hot, and you use a small battery with that, and then you can cut shapes out of foam. Then we've got more stick-on things for cards, and then that's just some extra ribbons and things. They should be in my ribbon box really. And we've got clothing patterns, which are mainly PDF patterns. There's a few old patterns in the bottom. Then I've got a box of mixed fabrics, which are small scraps but they're still the size that I can make something out of. Excuse my chair squeaking. Then I've got blue tone, and then I've got more mixed scraps. Then I've got red tone fabrics, and then I've got brown tone fabrics. And then on the top there are all my patterns from my Simply Sewing magazine. I've just finished my subscription because I've got all those patterns there and I've not used, or might have used one. So I'm really, rather than have to store lots of patterns that I might not get round to using, I'm going to stop at that. And most patterns, you can try and adapt to make other things out of anyway. You don't need lots and lots of patterns. Then you've got brown tone scraps, and then at the bottom there is a big box, but I've got lots of paper and pretty paper and things that I can use to use on my Sizzix cutter for making shapes and flowers and things for cards or whatever I want to use them for. This has become my project basket. That I salvaged from somewhere. Someone threw it away and I fixed it so I could use that. This is my toolbox full of, there you go, sorry about that. Toolbox full of buttons, again colour coded. I've got lots of different buttons in there. You can see I've got butterfly buttons, and I've got owls, I've got cats, and then all the normal other ones. I've tried to store them in colour so they're easy to find. Then I've got my big heavy, it's one of those, like a hole punch for putting the metal rings in for threading for bags and things. For these sort of rings, let me show you, like that. We've got lots of those. This is all just bags and oddments that you don't know what else to do with. Here I have some more threads, and this is an envelope of old embroidery threads that I bought off someone. You might recognise that from the Emmaus video. I picked this up in Emmaus as well. It's it's just like a wide cotton sort of almost muslin. I don't know what you'd call it. Some of you might call it something different, but it's just I love the reel more than anything. But I dare say I can use the actual ribbon itself for something. Then over here we've got where my glues are. I try to put tags on, but they don't all get used, or I don't always notice the label. I just put them in any box. So I've got glue, I've got tape, I've got my Dymo labeler, I've got sticky stuff remover, and on here we've got more tape and more small. There's the beads I took off that necklace, so I haven't got any room in my jars for any more. I've got these are the rings for my key rings, and I've also got D rings in there as well. There's a couple of little easels that I bought that I'm planning on painting tiny paintings of our sheet. That's my scales that's the scales for when I have to weigh my things to post. There's some flowers I've made. And that was a badge that I had on a bag, so I've kept in case I needed that for something else. So lots of little flowers I've made. I just make them when I've got spare time just to add to something. Then I've got my magnetic fasteners. This is just a box I keep straps in and cords for handles. Then I've got zips that I've collected, taken out of clothes or that I've bought in Emmaus or at a Vidgrenia boot fair. Then I've got more ribbon pieces. I'll just show you that. Sorry, excuse me. And it's all colour-coded ribbons in little clear plastic envelopes. I'm trying to keep them organised yet again. Then I've got some more threads here and here and here. Some of the threads aren't very good. They're the ones that I've bought from Lidl's and Aldi, and they're not always very strong. I don't know if you've found the same. In here it's a basket that Sharon bought me with some gifts in when I was having my treatment, and she put lots of lovely gifts in there to treat myself. And in there is my serger threads. Then here I've got my paper clips, all my needles, safety pins. This is a quilling kit. I think I've used that once or twice. Then I've got cards that I've bought for an emergency in case I've not made a card. I've got cards in a box with envelopes there, and then small bits of card there to cut things out of. It's my new fan. We bought that on holiday this year, and it's like a really cold blown fan. It was lovely when it was really hot in here. It's a picture of my mum, my dad, and my nan. They kept there looking after me. It's my printer and my laminator. Then I've got books here. I've got how to sew books, and I've got this one is the Perfect Handbag book, which is where I've made some of my bags from. I've got a Nancy Zimmerman's Confidence Sewing book, lots of little magazine books that I've collected as well. And I've got 1, 2, 3 Tilda books there. I've made some things from. You'll see some of those on my Facebook pictures, if not on Instagram. I've got a few knitting books. Complete home decorating book. Then I've got a French book here. Let me just move that out of the way. That's another bag book. It's a French one. Then I've got So Classic Clothes for Girls. Beautiful dresses. I did plan on making for my granddaughters, but that's never happened. Never got round to it. The difficulty is now with Brexit and everything, the postage, as I think I've said before, has got really ridiculous. So I can't post things to them because it costs too much money. And timing it right for when I make it and when I actually get to see them is difficult, getting the sizes right, because once I've made it, they could grow by the time I get to see them. Then I've got my baking powder sheets, baking paper, which I'd use for tracing. Then I've got my whole collection of Simply Sew magazine. As I say, I've just finished my subscription with them. What else have I got? This is a magnifying light. I've never used this yet, but it was for when I want to do some close work. It's a light and magnifying glass. Oh, I'll get that back in. I'll put it on the table, I'll do that in a minute. Then we've got this is just for making bracelets. Some of you may know, you can put the beads around those little the ridges around the outside here to get your size, your pattern right, and then you've got the length to put them in a row there as well if you want to measure and make sure your pattern's going to fit on the length of the bracelet you want. And the same again, you see there, same again for necklaces. Sorry, excuse the noise. Then I've got two books that I bought when I was doing more card making. I still would make some occasionally, but they're all the right words and phrases to put in a card, sorry. And this one is wedding anniversaries and knowing which anniversary is for what. Like this one, 3rd anniversary is leather and the 4th anniversary is linen, things like that, so you know what anniversary is what, basically. Then I've got my project ideas folder, and this is just, it's obviously not been going very long, and so I've just done screenshots of things on Facebook, things I've really liked and I want to do the same or similar to, and it prompts me to do things. Like this is something I was looking at to make with a blanket, and I've got a couple of blankets now that I wouldn't mind trying to make that. And I like this cushion cover with the washing on it, like dresses and things on a washing line. That's quite sweet. Obviously keyring ideas. This raised lettering. I did a cushion for Sharon actually for her birthday. Put an S on that, so I learned how to do that there. Button pictures, something else I want to try and do. And then we've got the plique. This is I don't know what that, but I think it's just a pocket or something, but it just really struck me and I really want to try and do that. And you've got crazy bear cushions. Some of these things, when I was printing them out, obviously the colour was running out on the on the printer, but that's just showing a patchwork flower and how to put that together. And that's just showing leaf coasters. There's some more bags with tassels. This is what I was saying about the cuff. The cuff on the shirt I could put over, maybe not as long as that, but it, you know, as a fastener on a bag. And I've got it's a denim heart there. More leaf coasters, drawstring bags, which I've done. I've got one of those. I'll just show you that quickly. It's embarrassing, but I'll show you. I made this young chap ages ago, just from a pattern for that. I wasn't very happy with him. He lives in the box and I was going to get rid of him, but Duncan and Sharon both said don't do that. There we got some more bags, more bag ideas. I love this. I will do that one day. Another one there with lots of lace and beads, and I really love that, and I think I might have a handle for that. More like denim flowers I want to try and make. I've done similar to these before, so another one. I made something similar to that for my granddaughter. And this I absolutely love, the little buildings on the bag. And those flowers again, you can see there, that's obviously been made from jeans. The little jean loops are still there, same as they were on mine. More jean flowers. This is the sort of stitching I've done on a bag of mine, which I'll show you. It's just, but I love the effect of just stitching on top of the leaves or any pattern on there, just to give it more texture. It's a nice one, quite a simple bag. This is obviously a tote bag. This I wanted to try. It's like a twisted, you sort of put it in and twist it and then stitch it the other side to give another dimension to the little strips. Another little denim bags. Placemats. So I love that. I didn't do that. That's all I did, like you can see on my serger there. Just thin covers. I've got a black and white one for my sewing machine, but yeah, I didn't get quite as fancy in the end. That was quite a nice one there with a hole for the handle. These are nice little bag key rings. This is just showing little angel hair. They sort of gave me the idea for doing my children's angels. It's an apron I wanted to make and will still make for when I'm painting. There's some fish. I've made one of those as well. I can't see that at the moment. Oh yes I can. Hang on, let's go and take you over there, show you the fish I made. There we go. So I made him. It wasn't wonderful, but the first one I've made, and he wasn't stuffed very well, but so he's just living in a bag at the moment. Again, about the washing line, this one's more of a washing line to use as like bunting, and I think that's great. Then we have a baby toy, dinosaur. This is quite good if you make one for the side of a child's bed. I made these for Sharon. This is a simple one I'm going to make. There's more buttons than that on a little patch. And there's another one showing about the texture, the sewing, as I was just talking about. Some silly little gonky things. That's a big puff made from patchwork. This is sort of the idea I want to do, but not with legs, just as a whole lump, as it were, and make that, you know, and stuff that with my bits of fabric. Right, let's put that on back. In here I've got on my machine feet. This is, and what I've done is each bag has got the machine foot, and then I've written on a bit of paper what it's for, and then did a sample of each. So I've got some of them, I'll get little bags. That's a rolled hem foot, a zigzag foot. That's a large open presser foot. These are all part of one of those kits you can buy. I think Duncan got them for me for Christmas a couple of years ago. Cording foot, quilting foot. That's a groove foot for making like tucks in fabric. That's a braiding foot. So straight stitch foot is obviously on the machine. An overcasting foot. Edge joining foot. I like the edge joining one, and that's quite good. And then we've got a knit foot, a fringe foot. You see there, you just do, it's almost like a zigzag, and then you snip it all along to make a fringe. Roller foot. Adjustable bias binding foot. Then I've got darning foot, which I've never used. A beading foot, well obviously I used it there, but not a very good example. And a beading foot, which I quite liked as well, attaching beads to fabric. Shirring foot, which obviously for gathering. Buttonhole foot. A blind stitch foot. So I don't use all of them all the time because I'm doing lots of things, but so I think, yeah, then I've just got sewing information, more clothing patterns. Then there's dyes and things which I use in my Sizzix machine. I've got a box here, sticky stuff box I call it, and that's just got all my double-sided tape, my sellotape and my glues. Elastic bands, stapler. This you might recognise. This was in my Emmaus haul video. Well, I actually didn't buy it at the time, but I showed you and wished I had bought it, and I went back and got that. No idea what I'm going to do with them, but I couldn't just let them be there without me buying them. There's hole punches, again, small hole punches, felt. This is my jewellery kit you saw me using. This is cords for making straps and putting my piping on bags and things. And then this is my close-up work for jewellery. My sister bought me that along with the jewellery kit. And this thing, Sharon bought me this. It reminds me of a toilet or a loo brush, but it's a bead device. Apparently you put all your beads in there and then you spin the centre round and put your thread or your wire in there, and as it goes round it picks up each bead, and it's an easier way of threading onto wire. In here I've got my bits of elastic. There's a wide bit of elastic I got there, which is, I bought that because I'd got put on a bit of weight and I wanted to put elastic in the side of a skirt, so that I use for that. This is the elastic you use on jersey fabric on the shoulders and things to stop it stretching. Then I've got a strip of fake fur I've not used yet, and I've got this is for making all different size circles. You just turn the outside and that gets smaller and bigger depending on the size of the circle you want. This is oops, sorry. And this is a little, it's got a bit dusty because I haven't been up here for a while, but it's just a little music box that a friend of mine bought me. Oop. Right, there we've got all my paper for crafting. I can't remember what I've already shown you now. Then we move over to here. Now we have the fabric stash, which I've tried to file colour coded again. All different, lots of upholstery fabric and things that people have given me. So they're great for bags and cushions and things, obviously. So I've just had another tidy up. And down here I've got sheets that I use for backing, or I might dye them to make something with. My tripod's in the way. There's a blanket there. I use that for wadding and for putting on oven mitts, or for bowl. Bowl. What do you call them? There's like a square that you basically put a bowl in and it keeps your soup warm. There we go. And there's some bags. Bags that I've made. This is one I was just talking about, where that's the stitching I was saying, but you stitch on there and just give it a bit of more of a texture, different texture. That was a belt. I did this for my own pattern. Obviously the D-rings, the flower sort of a thing on the front is made from belt loops or for jeans. I put some piping on the edge there, and there's some little pockets on the front, magnetic closure. Then they're like a silky lining. And I was really pleased with that. It's the first one I'd made like that, and from my own pattern. Then in here you've got my art bits and pieces. That bottle there is where I put all my dirty art water in before I take it downstairs. And there's videos in there and books. Then I've got gift wrap in there and bubble wrap and everything in there. Okay, I think that's about it. On the floor there, which is my doorstop currently, is my painting toolbox. It's got all my art paint in there. Down here I've got this box with lots of different bits of fabric in. I've got this box with more fabric in, the shorter length of fabric, so not quite scraps but not full length. Then I've got, this is cut up clothes, where I've had clothes and I've cut up chunks out of those to use. That's my canvases for painting. This is my lace pieces and trimmings, and I've got lots of those, and just see if I can pull that out and show you. So in here, as I say, I've got lots of different laces, of different types, different lengths. I'm sure there's always going to be something there I'm going to use it for. This is a very old lace that I bought in an old haberdashery shop once. Even this is a top off a skirt I had, and I didn't want it. Didn't suit me being that deep elastic, so I cut that off. And I thought, you never know, I might want to use it. There's another old vintage lace, and in here I've got belts and cords. I said I thought I had a handle, that I could do that with that bag. So yep, so that's another use for those. All different, so say, all different straps and belts. What else can I show you? I bought these recently in one of our cheap shops. They're like little cotton pouches with a string and with all the pegs that I'm going to make into an advent calendar. I think that's about all I can show you there. What else is there? That was just my last. I've got my papers. This is my printing papers, and then there's the card, and then we've got mixed card, lots of different shapes and of card. Then round here we've got bits and pieces. This is in the way now. Let's just see if I can move. No, I can't move it. Anyway, I've got lots of different bits and pieces. Card bags, bits of the cards that are already made with envelopes that I can just make into card. But because we've put my sockets here, I can't open the drawers at the moment. What have I got under here? That's just bags. That's all my interfacing. So yep, that's about wraps it up. As you can see, I got very hot and bothered doing that. I've taken my cardigan off now, but I hope you enjoyed that. And if you see anything in my craft room that you think, Jan, why don't you do that? Then do let me know. So I'm always open to more ideas. But the trouble is, my head is so full of things I want to do that it's difficult sometimes to find the time to do it. But as I say, I shall see you in the next video. I don't know if it'll be a tutorial yet or not, but hopefully you'll tune in and tell your friends if there's anybody as mad as me that wants to see a fellow mad person. Bye.